Good seeing you, Al.
We'll see you later.
That is super clutch play.
I wish there's more light in there. Very much light.
Andy Lahana? I bet he doesn't know about it. Would you call Andy Lahana? I said, I bet he doesn't even know about
Don't work very good. Not really work.
That's all I did last year. Here in March. I had a trophy that far away that I couldn't watch That's an obvious thing like a dog decades far away. That's what it gives me.
Take a picture. Is this KPRM or what?
Huh? This is
A little microphone check here. First of all, there was a young girl from Norway who hung by her heels in the doorway. Said she to her beau, "Come over here, Joe. I think I found one more way." Is the microphone working? Our thanks to Don Hoffman and his crew for the meal this afternoon. Don Hoffman's a driver ed teacher. Don Hoffman teaches driver ed. It might interest him to know that in Mexico, sex education and driver education cannot be taught at the same time. The burros can't take it. I want to welcome you to the first and hopefully the last roast for Andy McCarty. I have a lot of correspondence here from people that couldn't make it today. I have some correspondence here from people who didn't want to make it here today. Sir? Sir? Come on up. Ex-coach. Who are you?
Well, I'm Eldred Sutton,
Eldred Sutton. What do you do for a living?
passing through. Well, I'm kind of an ex too. Whoever he is. I'm an ex-campaign manager and social director for Senator Hart.
Senator Hart. Let's see now. Nixon had Watergate. Baker had Pearlygate. What's Senator Hart got going for it?
He had a little tailgate.
And what brings you here today? You know, you're breaking in on a party. What?
They told me that this ex, and being that I'm an ex, I'd like to see what he looks like. Where is he?
That's Andy McCarty right over there. He's not only an ex-coach. Andy was also a very good athlete. Do you know that he performed before 4 presidents?
Is that right?
Yeah, he and his wife camped out at Mount Rushmore last year. See what I'm talking about?
I'll bet his wife closes her eyes and she kisses him with his face on him.
Well, what brings you to the party, you know?
Just wanted to see him. I've never met the gentleman McCarty. Never had met him. And from what they told me outside here, and from what I see from here, I haven't missed a hell of a lot.
Get out of here, will you? You know, I see a lot of ex-football coaches out here today. John Consilius and Al Holmes and a few more. You know, there was the time when a football coach, a Catholic priest, and a Lutheran minister all died at the same time. They went to heaven, they met St. Peter. St. Peter welcomed them there. Welcomed the Catholic priest there, and he said, now, while in heaven, you will have to live in this little white house over here. One room, small, priest said, okay. Lutheran minister, he said, same with you. You'll have to live in that little white house over there. He met the football coach, said to the football coach, you're going to live in this mansion over here. And it was a beautiful mansion. Swimming pool, beautiful women, the whole works. After they had all been there a couple of days, the Catholic priest and the Lutheran minister got together and came back to St. Peter and said, hey, wait now. We've spent a lifetime serving and saving people, and we get these little white houses, and this football coach gets this mansion. St. Peter said, you know, we have a lot of Catholic priests and Lutheran ministers here, but that's the only football coach that's ever made it. I do have some correspondence here, the letter that was dated May 5th, Dear Mr. Potter. First of all, I'm sorry I cannot make it for Andy's roast. It's an honor, privilege, and most of all, real nastiness on my part to send some comments on situations that I have had with Andrew, Daniel, and McCarty. I remember the time we were out duck hunting and Andy dropped a duck into the middle of this icy pond. We had no dog, no hip boots or boat. Instead of waiting for the wind to blow it close to shore, Andy took off his clothes and went to get it. It took him a month to get over his cold. For the time we took knives, fry pans, spatula, butter, and flour along when we were going to catch frogs and eat frog legs. Andy made the list of things we needed. Have you ever eaten frog legs without salt? Or the time Andy quit high school and dug ditches all summer and winter because of broken water lines in the city of Ortonville. During the summer, he said, I'll never go back to school. And by December, he said he was coming back to school and was going to stay there forever. Or the time we went golfing with other friends, although I don't know if they're still friends. When we were up on the green concentrating on putting, Andy would talk incessantly. As I recall, he had to catch a putter that was flying in the air toward his head. Or the time Andy tells the story of helping his brother shingle his house. It was a bright sunny day, but within a few hours it clouded over and the fog rolled in. After shingling for a number of hours and the fog lifted, they discovered that they had shingled 4 feet above the peak. A time more recently, approximately 2 years ago, I was up fishing and dropped in to see Andy and his bride, Karen. It was a McCarty get-together, and I got to meet some of them again. His sister, Helen, who I hadn't seen for many years, was at the end of the dock with his wife and sister-in-law sunning themselves. We went out on the dock, and just as we got to the end where it branched to a T, and I was shaking hands with Helen, we both sank into the lake up to our knees or above. Andy just said, "uh-oh," and ran to get a hammer and nails while Helen pulled me up on the end of the dock while in hysterics. I think this is the first time Andy was lost for words. I did tell him I wouldn't drop in on him again. Well, I was just kidding, of course, and I probably will drop in on him again. I'm not sure if this roast is for his retirement, or if he's quit coaching, or just for fun. In either case, it was a good idea, and I wish I could tell you what the real Andy McCarty is like. P.S. I think you should roast him monthly. This is from Ruby Nordgren, and I'll leave this here for you. That was a pretty nice letter. Got some other ones here, Andy. I don't know how many of these I'm going to hit you with today. Dear Mr. Potter, we have just learned that Andy McCarty has quit coaching football at Park Rapids High School. While the people in Park Rapids might be happy, I want you to know that the fans in East Grand Forks are pissed. We have always heard that all his life Andy has wanted to coach in the worst possible way. Last fall in our playoff game, he did just that. Please give him our best. Signed, Tommy Handoff, President, East Grand Forks Football Boosters. Here's another one. Potter. It tells you something about the personality of this person. I just heard about Andy. Sorry I cannot make it today. Please convey these thoughts. Andy is one of my favorite coaches and teachers. That tells you something else about this guy. I will always be a big supporter of the weight program in Park Rapids curriculum. Signed, Arnie Basie. P.S. I especially like the way Andy handles delicate situations. Like the time this nice young boy said, "fuck you" to him. Can you believe Andy actually wanted to kick him out of class? There's a P.P.S. there too. Say hello to Joanne for me. Al, sorry we couldn't make it. Please convey to Andy our thanks for all his support for the hockey program. His thoughtfulness is much appreciated. Signed, the PR Hockey Association. Something there you have been telling me, Andy. P.S. If he wants to get back into coaching, we might find room for him. With no promises. Pink slip here from Paul Grams. I can hardly read it. Mom, it's something about quiet classes and throwing behind the runner. Tell us about that, Andy. And then there's a note from a radio station. I'm just going to summarize this one, Andy. Somebody told me to keep this clean. Wishing you luck. Maybe you have a chance to do color. Something like that.
I think you got that.
Letter here from Oral Roberts. I was wondering if you have a prayer tower. If not, what is your other option? Steve Novak didn't know, our new principal didn't know whether he could be here today or not. He is here. He doesn't want to speak. You ever tried to read his writing? But then he pulls for the Green Bay Packers. He's left-handed. You know there's brain damage there. I want to encourage you during the course of this little program, if someone's got something to say, let me know. There are a couple people here that have joined us today. Phil Bunn from Bemidji would like to say a few words. I asked Phil earlier when he wanted to go on the program, and he said, well, let the good guys go first. I assured him there aren't any good guys. So, Phil, if you would lead off our program for us, we'd appreciate it. Phil Bunn.
I'm a little surprised with the crowd because Andy usually doesn't stay in one place that long to this many enemies. He did well this time. When Al Potter and I talked about Andy having a little roast here, I said, gee, I'd like to come down. And he said, well, do you want to say a few words? And I kind of put things around a bit and thought about it. And I said, well, I come up with 2 reasons for being here. One of them is I want to get even. And the other one was it's Mother's Day. And it being Mother's Day pretty much characterizes my relationship with Andy McCarty. I'm like his mother. Both he and I ended up at Morehead State University. Andy was on the 6-year plan, undergraduate. And when we decided one summer to get an apartment together, I didn't realize what an awesome responsibility that was. I didn't know I was going to become a full-time tutor, financial advisor, and a guidance counselor, with an emphasis in affairs of the heart. Because this kid coming out of Ortonville and going to a big city like Fargo-Moorhead, he was falling in love at the rate of 2-3 times a week. And I had a tough time convincing him that those girls, those big city girls in Fargo-Moorhead, weren't interested in his cute personality. They were after his money. You know, after you've been in public education as long as I have, and I notice a lot of you people have, a lot of familiar faces here, that table over there is something else, that you know that all behavior is caused. And that's why after I assumed the job of taking care of Andy McCarty during his tenure at Morehead State, that I thought I better get a little background. So under the pretense of going visiting with Andy McCarty, I went back to Ortonville with him a couple times. And the first one, of course, we met there was Andy's mother. Now there's a sweet, humble, understanding lady. She stood for all the things that Andy doesn't. And I can remember her telling me, she said, you know, I knew there was going to be problems with Andy because he had no friends in his preschool days. It's not that he didn't want any, he just couldn't get any. But his mother said she had one little gimmick that worked that might help me. She used to tie a bone around his neck so the family dog would play with him. That kind of broke the ice. On one of the subsequent trips, I was able to run down his 6th grade teacher, I think it was. And here was another nice lady. She wouldn't say anything bad about anyone, even Andy. And she told me that Andy had made a lot of progress in her class. She said he came in there in the fall and he couldn't spit over his chin. But when he left in the spring, he could spit all over it. Andy went on to Ortonville High School. Now, at that time, I wasn't even certain where Ortonville was, let alone know anything about their particular programs and stuff. I didn't know about their graduation requirements, but I know that it entails something like social promotion. And I didn't know anything about their honors program. But Andy was so proud of his, he called it a diploma out of Ortonville High School. And if you look real carefully, he had it right on the wall up in our place. It was a certificate of attendance. And you know how those things are? They come out and they've got a little place in the corner where it says, honors earned. Well, on Andy's it said he was the upper half of those who failed. But he liked it. I guess that was pretty much top dog in Ortonville as far as I could tell. Andy went on to college, and by that time he was a good football player in high school, and he was a good football player in college. In fact, if I can remember right, as a junior he led the Dragons in 3 categories: cursing, fighting, and yards penalized. He had a lot of nicknames in college, Andy did. One was Skinny, then they called him Bones, then they called him Bonehead, they called him Stubborn, they called him Bullheaded, and I'm certain in a couple years here, after Andy hasn't coached anything, his wife is going to call him Boring. Now, at this particular time, I see where Karen's sitting, and I want to give her a little gift I brought along here. And if you want to see it, you've probably all read The Red Badge of Courage. Now, Karen, you must be one courageous lady to live with that guy through his tempers both on and off the field. Now, why can't I just pass this back to you right now? I'll be right back.
Say, Dick, is your movie gonna go? Make you laugh.
I graduated a couple of years earlier than Andy. A 4-year plan like most schools. 6-year time. Anyway, I was a little surprised at his career choice. When we were talking right before I left school over there, he had some real aspirations of being a guide at a duck hunting camp. Now, this guy that you heard that you got the letter from, this Rube Nordgren, I know him too. He's not much better than him. He graduated just below Andy. Well, anyway, if you've ever been duck hunting with Andy and watched him shoot a shotgun, then you know that was not a viable option in his career. I also know that his first year out of college, he was a basketball coach. If you ever watched Andy play basketball, you know why he's a football coach. But all kidding aside, Andy, you certainly put Park Rapids on the map athletically. And there's no question about that. As many and bad things I've said about you, part of them are true, you know that. But I'm also saying very few people have come in and built a program just the way you wanted to. You stepped on a lot of toes, but yet, and you got to step back a couple times, but you did it. And I suspect in the years to come, you and your family are going to look back and it's going to be satisfying and rewarding. It's going to be just a very fun time for you because you did exactly what you wanted to. Thanks for having me. Congratulations and good luck.
A year and a half ago, I had the so-called pleasure of going to Ortonville on a North Central evaluation. I came to appreciate Andy McCarty much more after seeing that school. What can you expect out of a school whose nickname is Trojans? Another guest that we have with us today is from a lot of places. He moves around quite a bit, and he's recently landed at Brainerd Community College as their football and wrestling coach. I introduce Al Holmes.
On Friday, Ken Weebold, who's another old buddy of Andy's and mine, were visiting. We played college football together. And we were trying to analyze and figure out why Andy's friends are such good friends. And we kind of figured it out that really, we've never been jealous of them. He really has nothing any of us ever wanted. He's never had any money. You know, physique, I don't think you'd call him Mr. Park Rapids. As far as clothes and looks, it makes you feel kind of good to be around them. I don't know where, I will say today, I don't know where the hell you got that suit in. I'm sure Karen had something to do with it. And relaying, now this is a true statement, and this statement was made 20 years ago. Some of you guys in here may have been ex-athletes at Park Rapids and been victim of Andy's training rules and penalties and so forth. But I want you to know, Cliff Bombach, some of the other guys know him, many years ago made this statement. We were asking him about Andy as a high school athlete because Andy's relaying all the stories. We don't know what's true. And he said, I'll tell you what, he's the biggest reprobate that I ever coached. I'm still not sure what reprobate is or how you spell it, but look it up when you get home something. In all sincerity, there's the old saying, are you with me or against me? And the thing that I just love about this guy, if he's with you, which he is with his friends, there's nobody that has more loyalty, and he'd die for you. That's what I love about Andy. And I have really appreciated seeing the success that he's had here. You people that are from Park Rapids know that the first couple of years are kind of, it wasn't easy. And he paid his dues and just had a tremendous amount of success here, and you like to see somebody have success when they earn it. Great. Good luck with it.
All these nice things are getting kind of boring, aren't they? We have a group here that's going to redefine the word entertainment. I have been told to introduce this group as the Moron Tabernacle Choir.
Before we start, I need 5 props. They're people. Al Potter, Sharon Ann McCarty, Mark Sween, and Tom Conzignas. Please come right up here and stand.
Go ahead, Mark. Be brave, Mark. You can do it. Don't do anything too bad, Mark.
That's okay. Just stand there. All right. You want to sit, guys? And I'm sorry, Karen. The other night, dear, when I was sleeping, I dreamed we were touched at the sea. When I awoke, dear, Sweeney was wearing, and I knew that we were stop the smoking in the boys' restroom. I smell the smoke from out in the hall. Let's clean up Blue Room and cure those teachers. Fresh air will be free, I know. Give me a
Very good. Nicely done.
Give me a buckhorn.
I gotta give you that.
Yeah, I got a buckhorn for you though. Where are you sitting? Gotta get you on a buckhorn. The two buckhorn records.
I forgot where Phil Bunn is sitting right now. I don't see him, but okay, Phil, remember I asked you a few minutes ago what place on the program you wanted to occupy? Would you want to follow that group? Dick Carpenter is a longtime friend, and he's asked to say a few words, so Dick, you follow that group. Your wife was in on it.
Well, I'm going to take issue with that. I've never been a friend to Andy McCarty. My wife and Karen are good friends. And needless to say, over the course of the last couple of years, McCarty and I and our wives have gone out and partying. And those of you that know Andy, he's a bore. Now, Karen's good company, but McCarty, he sits in the corner, and I mean, there's nothing he ever has to say. So it's usually a boring evening. So I didn't have anything to say. My wife told me I had to get up here tonight because she's a friend of Karen's, and I had to say something about him, and I didn't really have that much to say. But I would like to say this. Tom and I sent letters out to all of you people from out of town, and we promised you that we would pay you 40 cents a mile. Because we've had such a poor turnout, I hope you can understand this, but we can't pay 40 cents a mile. The other thing, now Al said he read a letter. I got a letter in the mail this morning. It says, Coach Andy McCarty, the Eagles Club, Park Rapids, Minnesota. And this one is from the East Grand Forks Football Boosters Club. I haven't opened it yet, so we'll just open it here in the meeting.
You love it, don't you, McCarty?
It's short, but there are 2,500 signatures at the bottom. I'm not going to read all of them. Coach McCarty, the coach and the East Grand Forks Football Boosters Club
are deeply saddened that you are retiring from football. You have provided us with many joyful years of successful football. Make sure you give the new coach all of your playbook. I don't understand this one, Andy, but last sentence. Especially the you-know-what play. And there are, Andy, you can read this later, but there are over 2,000 signatures on this sheet. That's all I have to say.
Remember that guy that got that bottle of aspirins? He's the next one to get pissed off at. He thinks he's got all the answers right now, but next August 13th, let's find out. Tommy has asked me if he could say a few words, and certainly. Our next football coach, Tom Consenius.
I've heard people talking about Andy's retirement, and I hate to disappoint some of you, but Andy's not retiring, he's just ineligible. Dick and I took a lot of heat when we scheduled this, and we tried Friday night, and a number of people couldn't attend Friday night. So we said, let's try Sunday. Well, lo and behold, we didn't look at the calendar, and we didn't know Sunday was Mother's Day. Well, I've been going to basketball games and different athletic events when Andy wasn't present, and people say, how's that mother anyway? I really didn't understand what they were talking about. I thought everybody liked Andy, but then I found out that Andy's ambition in life is to be a house mother. Andy wants Karen to work, and Andy wants to stay home and do the garden and fish and hunt and everything else. Andy, being a head coach, I know requires a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things an assistant doesn't. I think I can go along in calling my wife Bunny. But the one thing I will not do, I never will do, Andy, I will not drink buckle. Seriously, I'd like to thank Andy publicly for taking me under his wing and teaching me a lot of things about life, about football. He's a great individual, a great person, a tremendous family man, a good teacher, a good friend. Thanks, Andy.
You know, you never hate to, when you're MC, to tell a speaker what they should and shouldn't say. I was hoping this word academically ineligible would not come up today. Those of you that thought you were going to get home at 8 o'clock, after we introduce Andy, it's going to be definitely 11:30. We've heard some roast here from some people that have wanted to speak. That concludes my list, and I certainly understand why some of the people couldn't make it today because of the day that it is. If a couple of people I'm going to call on now would like to say just good things, we'll try to go along with that. Superintendent Ralph Christofferson, would you like to just say a couple of words, please?
Did you, have I been misunderstanding, is this a retirement from coaching or a retirement from football? Have we filled the coaching positions that are?
Oh, gymnastics.
Okay, we do have several open yet, don't we? Do we have any eligible people out there that don't have any other assignments? You know? Well, we'll talk about that. Ineligible. Okay. Andy, we've enjoyed having you as our coach. You've done a real special job of making football exciting for the folks at Park Rapids and for the folks that are in teams that compete with us. We know that you put Park Rapids on the map, football-wise. You can go almost anywhere in the state of Minnesota and talk about football, and folks know where Park Rapids is, and they know what the backfield does. They know what kind of a job the line does. There are many, many teams that say, we want to do that kind of a program. We just can't get it out. You get our kids to run that type of an offense. But they do look at the program and say, that's a quality program. We think it's exciting football. We think that we'd like to duplicate that. And most of them that have tried can't. And we want to make sure that you understand that we have been proud of you, that we know that you've given us an exciting brand of football, and that we're going to miss that. I think Tommy's going to do an excellent job of leading on, and I think that we're going to have to give him his head and let him do his kind of football too, and I'm sure there'll be a little mix of your brand in there too. But congratulations on your retirement. Thanks for the many years of service that you've given us and for the exciting brand of football you've given us.
Very good.
Told you it was going to get boring. Jim, I know I asked you earlier, and you said no, and I'll give you the high sign if something comes up. But Jim, you just picked your nose, and I took that as a high sign. Would you come on up, please? You can be nice. Tell you one thing about this guy. Tell you one thing about Jim Tyson, school board member. He's got a standing offer to the football team. If you beat Bemidji, I don't care if you win any other ball game, if you beat Bemidji, this has happened a couple times the last few years, Jim Tyson throws a prime rib dinner for the football team at the golf course. He is a Park Rapids Panther, I'll tell you.
Thank you, Al. Andy, you did make me pay twice. Goodness gracious. Yes, I've had that standing offer, and over the period of years, I've chuckled them all out. And Andy, I'm very sincere in saying thank you. You've made life exciting for us in Park Rapids. And Tom, you got a hell of a challenge. Keep it up.
I want to introduce Andy now, and I'm sure Andy will be very proud to introduce his family to all of us. I have enjoyed working with Andy for 10 years. We've had our ups, we've had our downs. I have a lot of respect for the man. I have a lot of admiration. We work in many areas. My office is in his area. We work on many things. Budget. We have the supply and demand type budget. I supply, he demands. But Andy has been very good to work with. He's always been very honest, very straightforward, and I too am going to miss you, Coach. I just want to run down here for the benefit of all you people that may not have heard or read his record. As a way of introducing Coach McCarty, he has completed 27 years of coaching. 3 years at Red Lake Falls. By the way, Andy, I did hear from Slew. Huseby, is his name. He called, he couldn't make it because he was kind of feeling sorry for himself. He says, I got a mother and a mother-in-law. I said, don't apologize for that. But he feels that your career got off to a blazing start when he was your star right end and you taught him how to go out for a pass without tripping over the chalk line. I figured that was sent you on the way. 7 years in Parker's Prairie. and the last 17 years in Park Rapids. Andy has a total overall record of 145 wins, 100 losses, and 1 tie. His record at Park Rapids is 103 wins, 63 losses, and 1 tie. He has had 14 straight winning seasons. He has made the football playoffs 8 times. He has had 5 players named to the All-State team. He reached 2nd place at the Dome we all remember in 1983. The next year, 1984, wasn't a bad ball club either. We got to the semifinals, losing to Centennial. Andy's teams have won or tied for the Mid-State title 6 times. In track, Andy has coached 5 Mid-State titles, 3 District 29A titles, and 2 Region 8A titles. I have all this information on one piece of paper. It says a lot for one.
Son, Patrick, is going to go to Bemidji State again next week. And number 2 son is wrestling for Mayville State now, Dan the Man. And his friend, by the way, Lisa from Mayville. She's graduating from Mayville now. And number 1 son, Neither Guy, and Annie Konchak, his wife. I provided me and Annie with grandson, with double name of the grandparents, Dave Konchak and myself, and we've got Amy provided me with 2 grandchildren. It's young Dick and Dick Andrew, by the way, and Sarah Jo. Yeah, and then my sister's here too, by the way, Helen. Helen was here when we did great time. And to Al, really, you and I started out with Chuck Frisbee, and you're the athletic director now, and I just can't say enough things about both you guys. You've been just super to me. Really, I don't think I've ever really had to wish. I maybe had to fight a little bit, but in the end, we always got it, and you always found ways to get us money, and you did this, you did that, and our programs kept going. And I thank you for that, Al, and Charlie too, and I am really pleased, because that's part of the battle, boy. If you can just coach, you don't have too many worries. And my administration now, I can't say enough about. Believe me, if you guys would have been here for the years before that, I think you'd have increased my longevity by about 10 more years, but I had to go through some turkeys before you, believe me. And I mean that. I'd say I'm very pleased now, and I'm relaxed, and I've never felt so good in my teaching or my coaching. And I owe that to my administration and the school board. Jack and Jim and the rest of you guys have been super, boy, and Jack has donated so much of his to the athletes and the scholarship program, and Jim, you've both gone out of your way to make the best for kids in this school. We're in the kid business. We all are. We're teachers, and kids are the most important product that we've got, and you guys have done a tremendous thing, believe me. And my assistant coaches, we have them all here. Arden is here, Art Busho, and Tony Z. They started out with me, boy, when we were down at the bottom, and you stuck with me. Who else have we got here? Mark Sween is here. I've got the greatest scout in the world, and Bob Kapsner. He is the greatest. Tommy C. is going to take over for me. We got Jim Shim is here. Who else am I missing here? Oh, Leo, yeah, Leo the Great. Leo is going to take over for the track for me. And just outstanding individuals. And I think we're going to keep going. I don't see any reason to die. Winning is a momentous thing, and I think you just have to keep winning. It's just old bucks like us, you know, it's just like old soldiers. We don't die, we just fade away. And I think the same way in coaching. And we hang in there, and you try to get old ideas and young minds, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And I think I felt that this year with the kids that I had. And maybe you lose some of that motivation. I think that's what coaching and teaching is, trying to motivate. And as Jimmy Bolin knows, he's one of the oldest guys, I guess, that I've had here. And Jimmy, you have to understand, was a little 120-pound twerp, I'd say. He was a district champ for us as an 8th grader at Parkers Prairie, and he knew more than I did
coming into his freshman year, and he skipped practice, so we had a little discipline problem, and basketball coach picked him up, and his buddy took third place in the state, and Jimmy was bouncing the ball. But he never went too far, but I'll tell you what, he was one hell of a football player and one hell of a track man. This kid played, we talk about motivating, I suppose, kids, and Jimmy knows the story well, but Jimmy played with 2 broken wrists. Now, the average guy would pass out. Jimmy played 1 whole year with 1 wrist broken. We had a score to settle with Monaga and we had Parkers, and we stuck him pretty good, 52-6. He stuck it to us one year, and I told him, I shook hands with him, I said, I'm going to get you, Turkey. That all catches up. And he went to Idaho, and he came back 2 years later, and we got him. We got him 52-6. I kept my B team in for the extra points. I kept Jimmy and the boys in. Now, we only weighed 154 pounds. We weren't too big. When we were 7-1 that year and 7-1 the year before, when the team only weighed 144 pounds. They weren't big, but they were tougher than hell, I'll tell you. And anyway, Jimmy broke his wrist in that game, the other one. And he was my quarterback, outstanding, all conference for 2 years. And he couldn't squeeze the ball, right? We couldn't pass the ball. It was 0-0, it was getting late in the game, so we stuck a little turkey at end, and the other guy came in, the end came in, a quarterback, and threw in the winning touchdown. He scored it for us and won the ball game. Well, that's the type of kid he is, boy. And tremendous pole vaulter, excellent hurdler, excellent guy. Football, you can't believe how tough he was, boy. But those were great years, and we came here, and I see Bruce is here tonight, Wiedner. I had my doubts about Bruce playing all the outstanding football he did, and just what a hell of a ball player he was, boy. Bruce ran the 300s with my track team, and he'd get out there and he'd regurgitate, and he'd throw it up, and he'd die, and I'd say, Bruce, for Christ's sake, don't run him. No, he says, I want to be good. He'd hit that weight room, and he'd run the 300s with my sprinters. And he'd run. I said, Bruce, don't do that. Yeah, I'm going to do it. Well, he went on, he proved me wrong, boy. He played some outstanding football. He was in the national championships in what, division what? 1, 2. North Dakota State beat it, but North Dakota State would have beat anybody. And he was in it, and they played in Alabama, and one heck of a ball game. Bruce, super guy, boy. But a lot of the kids that I've had here at Park Rapids, and the memories, they're going to live with me, boy. I've really enjoyed it. And my friends, Phil Bunn, hell, I lived with you, and I told you what life was all about. You're a little, right? Phil, can you imagine Mentor? Who the hell ever came from Mentor? Nobody came from Mentor. It's a place you always talk about. You know, Mentor's over this way. Eva Bunn, son Phil. There were 3 people in the Episcopalian church over there. Phil Bunn, his mother, and that time his father, because the other family left. Episcopalians. We used to kid about the Catholics and the Episcopalians. Then when I got married, Phil Bunn, of course, a big, great-hearted guy, I married a Lutheran, by the way, and we're down in the basement of my mother-in-law's house. Uncle Dickie was there, and what do? Phil tries to line up all the Lutherans or the Protestants, the Catholics, we're going to have a hell of a fight. Didn't quite work out, though. Yeah, I've got 2 of my former assistants when I was at Red Lake Falls, and they always laugh a lot. I kind of speak the truth, but Mike was the hockey and the baseball coach at Moorhead High School for quite a few years, and he was, what, champion? You worked for the championship in Junior Legion, weren't you, Mike? Runners-up, and national. Yeah, he went quite a ways. I mean, I taught him a hell of a lot, and I tried to instill all this in him. And Larry Gausen's in the math department at Bemidji State, and I helped Larry all I could. God, I tried to help that guy. If you guys, a lot of these teachers have gone up to Bemidji State and worked with the Gaus. I tell you, that's a lesson in mathematics. Boy, you want to add. You're going to get it. Yeah. That was quite the time, but they were 2 of my assistants, and I say I taught them every damn thing they know, which wasn't very much, but it's good to see them here, boy. Good to see it. It was a great time with all of you. And all my assistants, I guess I could go on and on, but I babble a lot. Like Al says, once I get up here, I'm hard to leave. But I have enjoyed this. In the Orange and Black, I'm from the town, Ortonville. They were orange and black, and I tell you what, I used to get tears in my eyes, and I was a horse's butt when I was in high school. I make no bones about it. I never wanted my kids, or the kids that I coached, ever to be like I was. I went to my coach's retirement, Cliff Bombay, one of the greatest guys I ever knew. He stuck with me, boy, when I was down, and I was down. I'm a high school dropout. I quit high school, and I learned a lesson. I dug ditches, I did. I worked my hind end off, boy, and I came back and I said, hey, I don't have to do that. God gave me a good brain. I've got to find something better that I can do. And I went and I did it, and Cliff stuck up for me. And he really did. My brother he's called Pee Wee, 6 feet tall in the 6th grade. And Pee Wee was a big hero at Ortonville. And Ortonville, in those days, was a big school. He started as a freshman, and I was a little peat down here. They didn't even look at me until I came back to school, and I was 6 feet tall, 155 pounds. But I learned a lesson. I learned a lesson on handling people from Cliff, for one, and what a great guy he was, boy, that he stuck with me. And I learned also what athletics will do for people, for guys like Jimmy Boland, for guys like Wiedner, and guys like me. It can make you one hell of a man, boy, and if you learn the adversities that you get out of athletics, because you get your hind end beat so many times, and you learn to come out of that, and guy, it can make us all better people, and I really mean this. I think maybe we should look at what we're doing now with our kids, and geez, let's get all these kids out for athletics. Let's get them out, and let's keep them out, because if I can make it, and I'm a horse's butt, if I can make it, there's room for all these kids at Park Rapids. But I bleed that orange and black guy, and I'm going to bleed it for many years. And I'll bleed it with you, Tommy. And good luck to you, Guy, and good luck to Leo, too. Good luck to all. Thank you.
I forgot one thing. One thing. He's going to get the ineligibility now. I think it was my second year here, they had a petition to get me fired. My the radio announcer out here, whatever the hell his name is. Joe Blow. I don't even like to mention his name. He's not on Superstation. Anyway, he had a petition to get me fired. And one guy in this town, I'm not kidding, there's one guy came up to me, came to my house, and I'm a nobody. We'd won one game that year, we won one game the second year. And he came out and he had this beautiful hand. And he knocked on my door, and he said, good luck, Andy. And I took it to my wife, I said, what is this? And there's this hand, and on the end note, he says, hey guy, you're going to be a winner, you're a super guy. And I thought, what a hell of a thing for this guy to do. He followed me every game. He said, where is he now? Where did my guy go to?
Oh, right here.
Frank Heights.
Under the table?
I should have mentioned Frank because he kept me going. I'm very serious about it.
It's interesting, Frank is the first guy to walk up to me today when I got here and shake my hand and say, you're losing one hell of a guy. You guys have got a relationship that's just great. Yeah. There's nothing more for the program. I guess Andy has said it all, and thank you for coming, and good luck.
Oh, sorry.
I wanted to talk to that guy from Bemidji. Holy cow, I thought he was funny.
Phil Bunn? He's gone now.
Yeah, he did leave. They told me this guy was him, and I thought, shit, that's not him.
Karen knows I'm doing this.
She's going to make faces at you. Are you going to St. Cloud next weekend, too?
What's happening? Oh, the tracking? No. What do I
How's your mom doing?
Not
better?
Good. Good. Today, I think she had a stroke today. Slightly. She can't talk. When I left her, she couldn't talk.
Oh, that's too bad.
But she knows what's going on.
How many kids are in your family?
5.
Karen's taking
Youngest.
good care of Grandma.
Oh, the camera works a lot better with the lights on bright. Who should I get? Bartender. We haven't got the bartenders yet, have we? Dick the bartender?
That's Dick.
Let's zoom in on him.
But he was cooking earlier. But say, Dick, if you really want to get somebody, Mark Sweet's really drunk.
Which one?
In the yellow shirt.
Okay.
That's his assistant.
Hey, Mark.
Mark, say a few words to the camera here.
Something, Mark. Do something bad, Mark.
Mark!
That's pretty bad.
That's his comment. Did you go talk to Ross? I was going to talk to Bob.
Oh, Frank, what's his name? Frank?
Who?
Frank up there?
Ice, yeah.
The bar? I gotta zoom in on
I
Frank.
tell you what, Dick, he loves Andy.
He crawled into the table when I pointed the camera
I
at him.
saw that.
Now he doesn't know
And his
he's...
wife is going like this.
I got him on right now. Drinking the whole beer.